Hashtag let my people go now. Welcome. How are you?
I'm okay. Good evening.
Well, good evening to you, and
Blessings to you. Glory.
thank you, and same to you, and thank you for joining us at Gold Table Talk. Kim, I am so impressed with the movement that you have going on, and I want you to tell us more about it. What is the goal of Let My People Go?
Thank you. Thank you for being impressed and inspired by it. Hashtag let my people go now. The campaign is the mission is to fight against the injustices that plague our incarcerated brothers and sisters, throughout this country. As you know, African American and Latinx people are disproportionately disparaged and affected by mass incarceration.
Right.
And so, yes. And so, now we have COVID, the pandemic, and unfortunately, from New York, I'm in New York, to across this country, they are being impacted by COVID in a way, we're all being impacted.
Right.
But ultimately, they are dying because they are in a congregational setting or a congregate setting in its density. And as the C stated, we must be socially distanced from one another, but unfortunately, those who are incarcerated are unable to do that. So they are dying. They're dying and it's unacceptable.
Right.
And so God gave a vision and a mission, which is a heavy mantle. And he told me, he said, Kim, go to the prisons and the jails.
Right.
And tell our pharaohs that they have to let my people go. And so that's the vision. It is that's the vision. That's the mission God gave me. It is a grassroots, faith-based campaign,
right,
which is moved by the Spirit of God,
right,
and that's very, very important to me. So it is a charge for me, and that actually is what thus saith the Lord.
Okay.
And so that's ultimately the mission.
Right. So the goal is to let the prisoners who can come out. Now, can you describe the ones who are able to, you feel, be released in some type of proportion because of COVID-19?
Yes. Well, and God gave me this also, but I've done research and I've come to understand people who are predisposed to COVID-19, they are at a disadvantage.
Right.
Why? Because when you're predisposed, it's harder for you to fight the coronavirus. And so, as you know, African American and Latinx people, we are people who are disposed. We have high blood pressure, predisposed, excuse me. We have high blood pressure, diabetes, heart conditions. Many people in prison have cancer. And so they are at a disadvantage. So my request was to the governor of New York, who is the governor of New York, was to please provide those who are predisposed and have a low level offense, who potentially pose no threat to society, to please give them a compassionate release. A compassionate release because they have an illness. Asthma, a person with asthma, as you know, the coronavirus impacts the lungs.
Yes.
And so if a person gets infected with the coronavirus, they're at a disadvantage. And I added an ankle bracelet because I know it's a process to get people out of the prison. Mm-hmm. So the ankle bracelet would expedite the process because they would still be connected to the penal system, but it would be a home confinement, you know?
Right.
And so, and that would, of course, you know, free up room within the prisons and the jails so that people will not be on top of each other.
Right. So when did you start this movement, and how did you start this movement?
I am currently in school.
Okay.
And working on my doctoral degree. And it is a part of my assignment. It's a part of my vision that I had for my project.
Right.
And so what happened was my project originally was recidivism. It was a concern to me. And as you know, recidivism is when people reoffend. They come out and they go right back into the prison. They come out, go right back. And the statistics are high for African American and Latinx people. I would say about 75% of them return within 3 years.
Wow.
And so that was my project at the very beginning, but unfortunately, the pastor of my church, he passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
So, you know, with a doctoral project, you really need some, you need to have the guidance of your pastor. Right. And so ultimately, coronavirus hit, and I ended up having to change my project, and God gave me this vision that he wanted his people released from the prison because of, for one, mass incarceration. Our people are the ones that are lodged in the prisons most, and mass incarceration is a form of modern day enslavement. And so we're there. And it's very disheartening to know that they're there and they're not provided with the proper PPE, meaning the mask. They can't wash their hands. They congregate, you know, maybe two in a cell, or, you know, even, you know, now it's, to my understanding, I've spoken to people who are behind the walls, and they, because of coronavirus, it's like they're locked down. They're in their cell for 20 to 23 hours a day. And so that's unacceptable. It's inhumane. And it's modern day genocide. It's a form of genocide. And so, and God is not pleased. He's not pleased.
So you have a petition out right now. Is that just for New York people to sign, or are you looking to get this petition broadened out across the country for this cause?
Yes, it is for New Yorkers. Really, it's for anyone to sign. And as you stated, yes, I am. I'm trying to raise awareness, not only in New York, but across this country. And the statistics change daily, weekly, daily, with regards to how many people are being impacted and infected with the coronavirus. So when I first started the petition, which was probably maybe about in January, I started the petition, I believe. Well, that's when my statistics, yes, I started researching and I got the statistics. So in January, it was roughly about 250,000 people across this country that had been infected with the virus, incarcerated people.
Wow.
And I said, this is a humanitarian.
It is. It absolutely is.
How could we, say that we are a country that stands up and fights for humanity in a way where we are saying that we defend our Constitution?
Right.
Because the last time I looked, the 14th Amendment tells us that everyone should have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Our leaders have a responsibility to protect the American people. And just because they're in prison doesn't mean they're the forgotten. They are the forgotten because they're incarcerated. So people think bottom of the barrel, castaways, but they're God's
that they're
children.
not even human anymore and deserve to be treated as such. And this is definitely that's crazy and it's insane. And I'm so glad that you are taking such measures to bring it to the forefront, because there's a lot going on prior to COVID. And now this has just really, impacted a bad situation and made it incredibly worse. Now tell me, as an activist, how is your chaplaincy experience helping you to let my people go now? How has that helped your cause?
Well, I've studied to develop the skills as a chaplain for approximately 3 years. Mm-hmm. And many don't understand that chaplaincy is a ministry whereby you're ministering to others, but you're walking with a mirror as well. Because at least in your training aspect of chaplaincy, chaplaincy enables one to develop a deeper empathy for people who are hurting, in distress, grieving, in situations of crisis. And so becoming a chaplain has taught me that my empathy has put me in a place where I'm able to understand what those who are incarcerated are going through, to understand the pain, the suffering, because I've been in the prison. I am a prison. And so I've heard the cries of those behind the wall. I know the pain. I know the suffering. I know the fear. And so chaplaincy has deepened my faith because of the pain and the trauma that I have experienced while ministering to those who are incarcerated.
Well, I can certainly see that it's not just a title for you, but it is in your heart to be compassion for people in this type of situation. Not only do they have the justice system against them, they're living in an environment that is just unsuitable for any human being, from what I hear you're saying. Now, let me ask you, how can we help you on this movement? What can we do to help you, partner with you, and also get the word out, not just to New York, but across this country? and ultimately across this globe.
Well, I'm thankful for tonight. Just being on any form of social media, but ultimately, I have a petition, as you
Mm-hmm.
stated very early on in the interview, and as many people as you can get to sign the petition.
Okay.
You can text it to them, you can email it to them, you can post it up on Twitter, Facebook. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Messenger, Facebook. Um, those are my platforms. Um,
Right.
any social media platform, you can provide people with the link,
Right.
just the link, which will enable them to click on it and sign. And you can donate. The donations help
Mm.
change.org to move the petition through different areas of the country. And
Okay.
so it's imperative that people get involved, because people are dying unnecessarily.
Right.
They're dying necessarily.
And they need a voice, and you are a voice for them. And I commend you for what you are doing. And I will certainly do whatever I can on this platform to get your message out. Do you have any final words that you would like to leave with us?
Um, the final words that I'd like to leave is, our incarcerated brothers and sisters are God's children. And every mayor, I speak to every governor. I'm prayerful that our president will hear about it. Our vice president will hear about it. And understand that this is a cry. It's a cry for help.
Yes.
Because our people are dying. And I gave you the statistics for January. However, now we're in February, a month later. So ultimately, when I started the petition, 250,000 approximately people had been infected across the country in these federal prisons and the jails. We're now only a month later, excuse me, and a little over 370,000 people. That's over 100,000 more people have been
Mm.
infected with the virus.
Wow.
It's unconscionable, and I'm asking our leaders, every governor, every mayor, from New York across this country, to let my people go, your people, our people go. Thus saith the Lord.
Well,
Amen.
amen to that. And the sense of urgency is now.
That's
And we will definitely put the link on this YouTube to make sure people can sign the petition. And I would really like to have you back, because we want to follow up and
okay.
see how the movement is moving and who else is getting on board. Because the best thing that we can do is not just we can partner with other people that may have another mission, but also mission minded to get behind you, just like we did with our movement with, Black Lives Matter. I mean, we
Right.
have to come together, and we can do so much together when we come together. So I thank you so much. We will continue to pray for you in this movement, and I'm with you 100%. So thank you so much, and we'll have you back again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Reverend Mason. God
Thank
bless. Bye-bye.
#LetMyPeopleGo campaign. Thank you.
Thank you.